Okay, here we are, Guido and Velma. Guido and Velma Hagar. That's what it says on his collar, Guido Hagar. I love it. Isn't he a doll? He my baby. I love him. If you guys don't have a dog, you're missing the boat. Okay, here. Here's looking at you, kid. I made cappuccino this morning. I got one of those little fuzzers that's just battery operated, that you can zzz in the milk, and it kind of gives it a little bit different taste. Not a total cappuccino, but better than just flat milk. Now, I put a video out the other day about my mama's pearls, and I can't believe the beautiful response I got from you guys. I was thinking that I was sharing something that, well, they may not like this. Look at me with my hair. I'm 77, but I'm always going to try to look my best, no matter how old I get. And that's something you need to do too. I'm going to tell you something. Whatever is going out here and on your body is all in your head in here. You're not different out here than you are in here. This particular generation of people, these kids, for some reason, they don't make themselves look their best. They don't dress nice. They don't comb their hair. They just have tattoos all over them. I mean, I know that our parents thought we were ridiculous with Elvis and our rock and roll. But you know what? We kept ourselves clean and nice. I don't know, maybe it's me. I hate to say it, but I want you to do the best you can with what you have, because you know what? It makes you feel better. You feel better. If you feel punk or depressed or lonely, go take a shower and wash your hair, fix your hair, put on some makeup if you're a girl. If you're a guy, shave and fix your hair too. And you're gonna feel better all the way around. And before I get into the story about my mother, I want to say, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. If you have something that needs to be done and you're dreading doing it, get it done. Every minute you waste, you are wasting so much energy. Remember my saying, eat the ugly frog first. The thing you dread doing the most, get it done first. Get right out there and do it. This morning I had a thing I just dreaded. And I thought, you know what? I'm eating the ugly frog first. I'm getting my butt up and I got it done. I'm telling you, and it kind of releases you. It gives you a freedom. It's so liberating when you get all your main stuff done. Now, for the story about my mother, you guys loved Mama's Pearls. I just couldn't believe how much you loved Mama's Pearls. So I'm going to tell you another story about my mother. Hope I don't cry. I've always said death is so cumbersome. It's always been my little line. Death is so cumbersome, right? Well, my mother really proved to me different. I have to tell you what happened. All my life, I used to say, oh, Mom, I don't know what I'll do when you die. And she'd say to me, you'll be ready when I die. And I would say, no, I won't. I'll never be ready. And she'd say, you'll be ready when I die. Now, my mother was a little Italian woman, and I'm telling you, her and I were like this. As I've told you before, we lived across from each other here on the golf course. I was on one side of the 12th tee box, and she was on the other side of the 12th putting green. So we would just that close, to each other. We lived our lives. It was beautiful. Before Phil came, her and I did everything together. And then when Phil came, we were a threesome, the three of us. My little nose is itching. Does that mean I'm going to kiss a fool? God, I hope so. I haven't kissed somebody in so long. My face got red. Look at it, got red. Okay, so anyway, my mom, before she died, after she told me this all these years, and so, and she wasn't sick. She was healthy as she could be, and her and I did so many things together. And I used to say to her, she'd say, well, she had to have a bypass surgery when she was 78. And I said to her when it was over, I said, I knew you weren't going to die, because I knew that before you died, you were going to win a big jackpot. Now, my mother loved to play the slot machines. And I said to her, I never saw anybody love the slot machines like you do that never wins. She never won, but she just loved them. I used to say to her, don't you dare go. I'll take you, but if you go without me, I won't let you go at all. And so I always kind of monitored how much she could spend at the casino. But she was good. She'd spend like a quarter at a time, So I said to her when I told her, I knew you weren't going to die, Mom, because I knew before you you died, God's going to let you win a big jackpot. And she said, oh shit, now if I win a big jackpot, I'll be afraid I'm going to die. So, but to make a long story short, I'm telling you all that to say this. This is probably going to be longer, but it's a story with a hate. So, before she died, the week before, her week was so full. Now remember, we had no idea she was going to die. It didn't even enter my mind. She wasn't quite 85, just a month, 2 months shy of being 85. And we just did everything. And the Tuesday before she died, she actually hit $800 with a quarter in the machine. You know, I took her to the casino and she won $800. So she did hit the jackpot like I thought she would. And we just did everything. She went and saw everybody. And the night before she died, I was going to have a dinner and have my friends over. And I tell her, and my mother never let me cook. Let me tell you, you talk about a family that all think they're the best cooks, including me. You know, I think I'm the best cook too. And so she would never let me cook. I always did the cooking. So this particular night I say, Mom, I'm going to have Ron and Dar over tonight, and we're going to watch a video, and I'm cooking. And she says, I want to cook. And I go, Mom, it's my friends, and I want to cook. And she goes, you know how I love to cook and set a pretty table. And I go, all right, cook. And I hang up, and I'm not mad. I didn't get mad at her, thank God, but I say to Phil, she never lets me cook. So we go over that night, and oh my gosh, her table is set beautifully. She's got pearls strung out on the table. She's got these little pink glasses with burgundy napkins coming out of the top. I mean, it was a beautiful dinner. She waits on us and serves us. And I told you this part. I remember I've told this on a video before. So if you've seen it before, just bear with me. And if you haven't, you're going to enjoy it. So she bakes a cake. This is like Wednesday. Now, she baked this cake that she had won a prize with at the Orange Show, you know. And I mean, she just went all out at this birthday. At this dinner, all out. And she even says to me, now I always loved my mother to make me a cup of coffee. Let me tell you, that little Italian, oh, did she make coffee it was wonderful. And she says to me, do you want a cup of coffee? And that's how she'd always say it, you want some happy coffee, you know? And so I said, no, not tonight, because I don't usually drink caffeinated coffee after dinner, usually, unless they have brandy in it, you know. And she said, you know, it's got Seattle's best, and I put some good hazelnut beans in and some Kona beans in it. It's delicious. And that's how she used to say it. It's just delicious. And I go, all right, I will have a cup of coffee, Ma. Now remember, this is the night before she dies. She stirs the coffee and she brings it and serves me. And ooh, it was so good. And the dessert. And then we say to her, Darlene and I say, you know, let us clean up the mess. And she cooked and she goes, nah, I have all day tomorrow. All day tomorrow, she says. So now, after the dinner, we're going to come over here because that was the whole point. We were going to look at this video I wanted Ron and Dar to see. And so she drives her car around because she doesn't like to walk across the golf course at night. And so we watch the video, and it's uneventful. And then she drives the car over, and when we're ready to go, I say to her, now, Mom, be careful you don't back into Darlene and Ron's car when you're backing out. And she rolls down her window and she says, I'm going to drive this car up a gnat's ass. And then she takes off down the street and lays rubber. And we're like, you know, this is just Mom. This is the way she is, right? So she goes home, and in the morning, my phone rings real early. And there's something in me. My stomach just lurched. I just knew it. You know, something in me just knew it. She goes, Velma, I don't feel good. And so I go, okay, I'm coming right over. And I say, Phil, bring the car around. Ma doesn't feel good. So I get over there, and she's sitting in a chair. And I say, what's wrong? She goes, right here. I don't feel good right here. And I go, okay, did you take an aspirin? Yes. I said, did you call an ambulance? No, I didn't call an ambulance. I said, well, I'm going to call one. And so then I call the ambulance, and then I lean over her in the chair, and I mean these big tears rolling out of my eyes, and I go, well, if you're going to die, I want you to know that you've been the best mother in the whole world. And if you get to heaven before me, don't you dare ice skate till I get there. And she goes, no, I won't. Okay, don't cry. Everything's going to be okay. She goes, Because her and I'd always said, when we get to heaven, we're going to ice skate. We loved to watch ice skating together. We would just cry with emotion when we'd watch them, especially the couples ice skating. So then I hear the ambulance at the door, and so I step aside, and I'm listening to them as they talk to her. And they're saying, you know, how long have you had this pain? And she says, 4 days. And I go, 4 days? This woman tells me everything, and she didn't tell me she had this pain for 4 days. And then they say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is that pain? And she says, it's about a 6. Now, I'm at this point going, you know, she's probably got indigestion, a 6. I mean, she's not going to die. A stubbed toe's an 8. And so they're taking her out the door now, and they're going to take her to the hospital. And so she's on the gurney, and they get to the front door, and she says, Velma, now I'm thinking at this point, what a perfect time to have said, oh, what a wonderful daughter you've been. No, she didn't say that. She says to me, there's some hamburger in the fridge that needs to go in the freezer. And I'm going, oh, Ma, don't worry about stuff like that. So now I'm saying to myself, she's definitely not dying. She's worrying about the hamburger, right? But my mother fretted right out the door, let me tell you. So I say, we'll follow you over. I'll meet you over at the hospital. So we drive over, Phil and I, and behind the ambulance, we get there. They take her in, and they say, you can't come in. She didn't do well in the ambulance. Her heart stopped. Do you want us to revive her? And I go, yes, revive her. And so he comes out and he says, she's not, what do you call it? She's not responding. Do you want us to put her on life supports? And I went, no, let her go. But I tell you this because I never saw anybody, death is not cumbersome all the time. I never saw anybody die so beautifully as my mother did. And I wanted to share that with you. That you know what? When you trust God and you know that He's the one in control of your life, and He's the only one that can decide when you come home. If He chooses to take you out, give you coronavirus, and let you die, then you know what? That's how I'll die. But I know one thing. Nothing's going to take me out of here till He's ready to take me. And you know what? I'm believing with all my heart when I go, it's going to be just like that. I'm going to still be living alone. I'm going to still be cooking dinner for everybody the night before. Isn't that an encouraging story on death itself? I love it. You know what? She's in heaven. And she was right. I was not ready, but I handled it so well. No one could believe how well this mama's girl handled her mother's death. I handled it so well because I knew when I saw how she died, I would never want her back because I didn't want her to have to go through a hard death. I thought, this is so perfect. How could I want her back? She went out of here like a, man, it was so easy. It was almost like she just got whipped out of here like Elijah or something, you know, but it went up in a whirlwind. So, with that said, you know what? Look, I've talked for 13 minutes. You guys, you don't have to listen to it if you don't want. But see that little subscribe button down there on the right? Hit it. You know what? We're still locked in, and I got lots of time. So do you. So hit that subscribe button, and I'll put some more videos out. So in the meantime, buy my book, Hidden Treasures in Secret Places, and don't be afraid of dying. You know what? Especially if you knew the Lord. My mom is waiting for me right now, and when I get there, we are going to ice skate all over heaven. Can't wait. Okay, you guys, until next time. This is Velma Hagar bidding you a blessed day. Bye.